improve your mental strength?
I read books about psychology. I did meditation so that I could focus in my energy better. Because if your thoughts are just jumping around all the time, then your energy is dissipating. Your energy is going off into areas that aren't useful for that moment. For that moment in batting, you only need to focus for a few seconds, and you need your energy on that. Because you want to react quickly and go bang to a ball. So your question, your follow-up, your second question is a good question. What is mental strength? Or what is concentration? It's the ability to be able to focus in on what's important. That's very important. Because there are so many things that can distract you. So many things. You know, you could be fighting with your mate. You could have had an argument with him in the morning. One of your other guys could be being lazy or dozy or sleepy or something. You might have had an argument with your wife. Anything. You might be thinking about how much money you're going to make if you get 100. There's just distractions everywhere. The coach might be being an arsehole. It's possible. So there's all sorts of distractions. So being able to focus in is very important. So you have to work out for yourself what mental strength means. But that's what it meant to me. I don't want to talk for too long. You know, you guys have got a game tomorrow, but you.
That's fine. That's fine. I think this is a great opportunity. They are hungry and they continue to listen. The more they can retain some of this good information, it's going to be better for them on long run. We know that. It's the journey which we have just started off. I think some very good, plenty of good information, good insight. At least as far as batting is concerned, and mental strength is concerned. I had one question for you. Did you have a routine between deliveries which you were facing?
Yes, definitely.
What was the exact routine which you were following?
My routine was so play the shot or whatever, then relax, maybe walk around a little, just keep an eye on what's happening around me, keep an eye, maybe look at my partner on the other side, and then it was just make a mark there.
That was a physical part.
Middle, yeah, there, and then I'd watch where the bowler was, and then I'd put my toe there. Face up, just lean forward a little, and then say to myself, right, watch the ball. And then I could focus. So that was my routine, nice, simple, nothing fancy. The value of a routine is so that your thoughts are focused on your routine, which brings you to focus on whatever you need to focus on. So other people will be different. But because you're focusing on your routine, your thoughts aren't jumping around elsewhere. Because you can only think of one thing at one time. That's the value of routine.
Brilliant.
Yes, right.
As team perspective, like you said, you guys was similar as Nepal when you guys were playing against the associate nations back then in early 1980s or 90s, and you guys got the ODIs and one-day international status. Yeah. And you also knew like the challenge just started after that, right? You guys started playing against the big countries like India, Australia, and you also not only played but you won the games against those giant nations as well. Being a senior player, what was your thought process on that time? Because you were marching ahead for the big moments in life as well. And as a team, how was the team room, like the dressing room used to be at that time?
Yeah, it's a good question. Firstly, when we were playing international matches, we didn't win many matches. Huh? playing against the big test nations. We didn't win many matches at all. So it was very difficult to keep our team strong. It was very difficult because if you're losing often, you don't feel very confident, you don't feel very good about yourselves. So actually the team staying together was a challenge. But as I said before, we were very proud about justifying why we were given international status. I find that the team, one of the most important things about a team sticking together and functioning healthily is if you have mutual respect for one another. You don't have to necessarily like each other, because this is impossible. You can't like make a good connection with everyone. There's too many people in the world. But I think when you're working in an environment like this, to respect each other is a very good start, because then you can treat each other in a nice way, and you're not abusing each other in any way, and then you can communication can be healthy. This is very important to keep a team together. And if you're going to respect each other, I think you have to have some agreements about your behaviors. So I think it's always a very good idea for teams, and this is part of leadership, but it's also your responsibility to have a nice, I like picturing it like having a big circle in which to operate. So your team operates in this circle.
You're saying bigger boundaries?
Yeah, it's like a boundary, okay? So you want the nice wide boundary so that you can be yourself.
Right.
Some people like loud music, they like dancing, some people like to sit quietly, some people like going out to dinner in groups, some people like eating in their rooms, some people like lots of training in the gym, some people a little less. Some people will smoke or drink alcohol or something. Some people think this is not the done thing. So I think you should have these boundaries definitely as a team, and you should talk about them. What are the behaviors that are acceptable? Behaviors is the key. What behaviors are acceptable? And have enough space there to be yourself. Yeah, that's important. But also know what that line is, so that if someone steps out, then hopefully your players say, "Hey mate, that's not what we agreed. Come back in, get your behaviors better, come back in." And that helps keep you together. Because it's a very tricky thing to get a healthily functioning team. It's part of your job. Your job as manager, coach, manager, very important. Everyone's got an important role. Influential player, because of your experience in franchise cricket. So your role is very important as a role model. Obviously skipper as a role model, very important. But even the youngest player, I'm not sure who he is. Is it Gulsar, youngest player?
Gulshan is the youngest.
Younger than me.
Every player has his responsibility to do something about that. Yeah, I'm not sure if that answers your question. Does that answer or no?
Whatever you say, we agree on that.
No.
We love to listen here.
This is a very good point, actually. In a healthily functioning team, you should be able to disagree with each other. You should be able to disagree. This is very healthy, to have different opinions and to be able to say, "Oh, actually, I've heard you talk and make your point, but I see it differently. I'm going to tell you how I see it, and then let's talk about the merits and let's talk about the way forward. Okay, but I've listened to you. Now, will you listen to me? Thank you very much. This is my view." This is very important that you can dialogue like that, because in your team meetings, not everything he says is right.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Or him. He's a young captain. Why should he know everything? Of course not. No one knows everything. So you should be able to, if you are the youngster, you should be able to ask good questions. You should be able to say, yes, but this is how I want to bowl. This is the field I want. And these are the reasons why, skipper. You should be able to disagree. Good point that you've brought up.
Excellent. Expanding on the boundaries and understanding each other is probably part of the definition when we talk about happy dressing room. Yes, we will have some uncomfortable conversations as well. But I think that mutual respect which you said, that's the starting point of everything. Fantastic. And we do agree to one thing as part of our boundaries, that there's only X amount of information and knowledge which you can retain in one meeting.
Yes, indeed.
As human beings. So
Indeed.
I think I'll move on from this one to one of the important rituals which we do in our happy dressing room, which is acknowledging some of the efforts, the commitment which they give towards their team, on field and off field. The process is that we make the vote. So everyone does give me a message about what they feel, and then the person who got the highest vote ends up winning that award. And we have you as a guest to give away today. Yeah, I do. Anyone has one more question for Andy by the time I just finish up writing this?
Anything else?
I'm so many. I'm going to ask you different things. I'll need a lot of time to ask you those questions. There are so many.
Yeah, feel free if you want to. No problem.
I really like the insight which you gave us on the Vipassana as well, because it only, like I said, makes me realize that you want to connect to your deepest identity somewhere in that silence. You understand that?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, exactly. So the purpose of meditation is to understand yourself better, to get to know yourself. I think this is to give you insight into yourself, and also the world around you, so that you are better able to see reality. You're not just, I think it's good to understand that purpose. That 10-day meditation course, silent meditation course, it was a long time to be silent. Wow, it was very interesting, very interesting.
Even with this 6 minutes, 7 minutes, many times we actually talk about distractions through that 7 minutes. And I have to be honest, as a human being today, my biggest distraction was Andy sitting beside me, what he must be thinking. And then I bring my anchor point back.
Yeah.
Think about breathing.
Exactly. That's a good example of what can happen in the middle. Your thoughts can go to something that's not that important. Not in that moment. Like, it was interesting when he was talking about distractions and that very noisy car came past. That's perfect. Isn't it? Perfect.
Good observation. Quite loud.
So loud. How was it with you?
Sir, what's the time you were talking about?
4 years ago. 4 years ago.
Must be dusty. Must be dusty a bit sometimes around.
The camera is on.
Yes.
This camera is switched off. I first acknowledge the names, because a lot of people put in effort. It is interesting that when they vote, somehow I do get all the names in. And this is especially for the off-field. Basanji is considered to be our best cheerleader from the dressing room. I always encourage everyone. Raman for the kind of role he plays, multitasking all the time. Vikram, of course, call him a ball of light. The reason for that is when he moves around, everyone knows you have to bring your awareness back. Abs, of course, the way he puts in effort with everyone in the gym. Same goes for Vinod, who is not here, but he put in a lot of efforts as well. You met him yesterday. Ashliji, our manager, always there to. And all the players who have not got opportunities. But today, the standout one, and the main messages were that the amount of effort which he puts in for his own role, which he needs to always get ready for. More importantly, also puts in effort for helping out others. This award especially goes to Kishore Mahota.
Helping out others. Lovely. Shall I put on?
Yeah.
Yes. Put.
You want to give us some speech? For on-field, we had 4 nominations this time. We'll start with the lowest number of votes, but for the efforts. Dipendra Eri for all-round ability. High on the field, someone said the kind of catch you took, and obviously your bat and ball also speaks for you. So he was there. Gulshan Jha for his contribution to the ball in the back. But the winners, so I'll start with first one, is courageous. He bowls in all phases for us. He also acknowledged for the effort which he put in the death overs. This goes to Lalit. Obviously, you gave a lot of insights on batting and not to miss out on cut shots. Someone was practicing a lot of ramp shots, but it was a bit of shadowing over there. But the effort overall with batting and then ensuring that one cut goes for the 6. Arif shakes. He was also involved in all the partnerships. This is kind of a small effort which we take in our happy dressing room, and it does go on YouTube as a small episode.
Excellent.
And a lot of the Nepali fans go back home. We'll be happy to see you around in a happy dressing room.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys.
ये इसलिए मेडल का है मेरे पॉकेट में रख दिया ये इसलिए हमारे हैप्पी ड्रेसिंग रूम में कल कंपटीशन हो गया था वोटिंग का और डिजर्विंगली ज्ञानुदाई को कल वोट मिला था बट ज्ञानुदाई ने किसी को वोट किया था उनके एफर्ट के लिए और वो कंपटीशन भी टाइट था तो आज ऑफ द फील्ड का हम लोग एक कमिटमेंट अवार्ड पूरा कर रहे हैं विनोद दास के लिए दोनों कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे
नहीं थोड़ा और लगा
क्यों
मैं विनोद भाई को दे रहा हूँ तो थोड़ा और
एनीथिंग विनोद
No, I mean, I know हामीले कति मेहनत गरेर यहाँसम्म पुगेको छु हैन and thank you so much for actually accepting me into this family. It's been a wonderful 2-3 weeks that I've spent with the team, and I could not thank you enough for the acceptance that I've got. All the hard work that you guys have been putting on field, it is very evident that in the performances, but then again, we all know that we've got a long way to go, and if I could be even a small help in that regard, I would feel myself that I have fulfilled my life and I have fulfilled my commitment. So thank you for this, and we'll hope that you'll qualify for the next round as well, and I'm sure that we'll do well in this tournament.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well done, happy dressing room. Anybody wants to say anything? Anybody wants to say anything?
Presenter बाकी है ना?
ज्ञान को कुछ बोलना है?
So actually, I was trying to say he was my first captain when I started playing, and he always supported me when I was youngest in the team member. Now I am the senior most. At that time as well, he helped me a lot, and I admire him for his cricket brilliance as a captain, as a bowler. I think one of the greatest bowler we have ever produced. So I really admire him, and whatever he has done off and on the field, I think we should appreciate that effort of his as well.
और एक बार हो जाए सारे. Happy dressing room ऐसे ही बनाए रखो. Happy dressing room ऐसे ही बनाए रखो. बहुत और हासिल करना है. बहुत और. अपना स्टोरी बहुत बड़ा करना है. सब लोगों को मिलके. Okay?
Thank you.
Cheers.